This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a moody, misty, very interesting type of morning. I love these kinds of mornings. They're my favorite when it's misty like this. In the bush, it's still, there's not a breath of wind, and it just feels like it's completely sort of eerie and full of atmosphere, and I love that. So hopefully it'll be a good morning. What we need in this now is either a leopard walking around or a lion roaring in the mist. That's always going to be good. Anyway, my name is Tristan. On camera I've got Gert. Good morning, Gert. Hope you're well. Gert, I think, had a good night's rest. He seems chipper this morning, everybody, which is good. We are coming to you live from South Africa, so if you want to ask lots of questions about our misty morning and what we're going to see, then you can do so using hashtag WildEarth on Twitter, at FC on the YouTube chat stream, various comment boxes of the places we stream to, as well as the website. And for kids, you are welcome to send your questions through to kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. And there we have it. It's plan for the morning, I think, is one, to just enjoy the mist, and two, is to try and see what we can find. The last time we had mist like this, I had such an epic Tswalu sighting of her sawing and walking around, so we're going to try and repeat that. We're going to start west, and then we're going to work our way south and east. It's just going to be me out for now this morning. Wendy's got an issue, so Lauren will be on the dam cam to start things, I think. I don't know, they were working on it when I left, and I'm sure JP will be out later. Old Yarpint Pierpint will hopefully be on bushwalk and see what he can do. All right, so that's the plan. The Talamati Lionesses last night, they crossed north into Buffelshoek. Seems like Shasha crossed north into Buffelshoek, so not going to go follow up on them yet. If we get desperate a little later, we'll go check on the boundary there. But I think what we're going to do is west and south. Let's see if we can pick up maybe Tortoise Pan or Shadulu or any sign of Kalamba. Safari Kitty, it does look like a little bit, I'm not sure a fairy tale, but it does look like something from a book, with the mist, and almost looks like one of those Halloween scenes, where there's mist that's descending and rolling through, and out of the grey mist will appear a big dark maned lion, something like that. It would be perfect for a story or like a movie. That movie Ghosts in the Darkness, where they have those lions that eat people, which is based off a true event. That was very dramatized, the movie, but it's based off a true event from Savo in East Africa. Very weird feeling going to that place where they built that bridge. So the movie is based off a whole bunch of railway workers that built a bridge in Kenya that links Mombasa towards Nairobi. And a lot of the workers on that were attacked by two male lions that were maneless in real life. In the movie, they've got manes that are bigger than a circus lion. But they killed quite a number of people. They were quite severe on a lot of those workers, and it became the story that was told. And if you go to that bridge where it was built, there's a very weird, very eerie feeling about it, which is strange. It's, interesting place, actually. It's now in the middle of nowhere, not really much around it. Doesn't seem as grandeur and impressive as it made out in the movie, but you still get that weird feeling when you're there. Alright, so just checking if there's any tracks crossing here. This is a crossing point for a number of leopards if they walk in this area. So we know Kara, Shadulu, Kalamba, Mulawati, Tortoise Pan, not really this far, but possible, can all walk here. So always just check very carefully at Aubrey's Road Junction. It's often a place where tracks come, and with Kalamba we would have picked two tracks up already. her route is Aubrey's Road, and then down Vertilla Access, or up Vertilla Access Aubrey's Road, where Shadulu and Kara come out the block here, and they go straight up. They don't tend to go all the way down towards Quarantine. Kalamba always goes to the Zoe's Vertilla Access Road junction when she marks, and she marks there on that marula tree. It's like clockwork with her, same as Mulawati. Is it hyenas or leopard? I saw a hyena track earlier. Yeah, hyena, that's walking here. But hang on, is it 2 hyenas or 1? Looks like 2 hyenas on either side, walking. And then a white-tailed mongoose has also walked here last night. Alrighty, so I was saying that it's misty, it's moody, so take a look at what our weather has in store for us this morning. So cool, overcast, and even a little chance of rain potentially, apparently, this morning. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Anyway, we've got our Impalas in the mist. It's typical to see these guys in the area that we're in. That's why I like to come up here. Sandy Patch has often got a whole bunch of Impalas on it, which then attracts the likes of tortoise pan, Kara, Shadulu, the various ones we've just listed off. They like to hunt on the edges here, and you can see these Impalas mostly on the clearing, but they are starting to shift off the clearing slightly into the thickets, and that's where the leopards will thrive, is as they get into those thicket areas, these Impalas, as they move off, that's where, leopards lie in wait. And in conditions like this, where it's a little tricky to see, it's still quite dingy, it's a perfect time for a leopard to be fairly busy and get the job done. I'm sure there's a number of cats that have been on kills in the last couple of days. It's honestly, this stint has been one of the worst from a leopard on kills perspective. I don't even know if I've had Kalamba on a kill, and that's it. That's the only leopard I think I've seen eating. The rest have all been moving around. So, and it's weird because we've had all the right conditions for them to be on multiple different kills. I think it's just that Djuma itself, which is where we predominantly are driving, is in a state of flux at the moment. And the dominant male leopard here, he is so skittish in the form of Mulawati that when he makes a kill, you don't even know about it. And then you couple that with Kalamba being super elusive of late, and your 2 main leopards, you're not going to find them. So yeah, it's been weird, but hopefully, the next couple of days there'll be something somewhere that we can find. It'll be nice just to have a big kill in a tree at some point, and a couple of days of good leopard viewing to finish up the stint, but we'll see how it goes. Impalas certainly seem like they don't care too much for anything this morning. They're all looking pretty content, bar the fact that they're probably freezing cold from a night in this kind of weather. Although it was clear last night when we kind of finished up drive and ended up going to bed, there was stars, and it was actually fairly warm last night. It wasn't too bad. I didn't even have a jacket on by the time we finished drive, so it's not too cold. This morning is a little bit more chilly than it was earlier in the day. Dorothy, I'm glad to hear that. It's nice that there are people out there that are happy to see Impalas and spend a little time with them. They're fascinating creatures, are Impalas, and integral to this environment. So without them, we'd have a very big problem out here, and we certainly would not see the level of predator density that we do. So they're an important part of this ecosystem, and they're beautiful animals to look at. It's not like they are an ugly creature. They've got beautiful markings, the males with these nice sets of horns that they have, and little bum stripes and coloration. I really do enjoy impalas. And you know, funnily enough, at this time of the day, it can be one of the best things to do is just sit with a herd of impalas like this. Not because this particular herd will be hunted or anything like that, but you never know what could be around. And second to that is it gives you an opportunity to listen. At this time of the day, remember, there's a huge upturn in the activity of predators. So we talk about it a lot in that everyone always thinks lion, leopard, nocturnal, only going to move at night. It's not the case. Lions and leopards and things like wild dog and even cheetah, this is the time that they like to move. They like to move around the sunrise, sunset period. So, you know, it's always a good time to listen. You get the last saws / roars of the night at this time, which gives you a good indication of where animals are. So, yeah, I always like sitting just for a little bit at this time. Listen. If there's nothing for, you know, a good 10, 15 minutes, then carry on. I think we're always so quick to try and cover ground that we forget that there's you know, animals all over the place. And yesterday was a prime example of that. You know, we left camp and we had a leopard and lions within not even 100 meters of the camp. So it's a good lesson to sometimes not always drive, but to use your other senses to find animals too, especially in conditions like this. You know, the roads are still hard. Tracks are not easy to come by, so rather try and use a bit of audio than only just your vision. And also our sight is obscured by this mist. Somebody's going to have to be quite close to the road to see it. It's very, very misty this morning. Alrighty, let's carry on. We've sat here for a little while. Let's see if we go around the corner here if there's anything else that's lurking. Jane, I like that. You said leopard thoughts out in the universe. Yes, I think that's a good call. Hopefully it will come right for us, and we will be able to find said leopards this morning. I just would like a sighting of Kalamba and a sighting of Tingana. I know it's a lot to ask, but that's what I want. So we have to put that out there too. Good morning, ladies. How was your evening? Wonderful. Good. Everyone looks healthy, happy this morning. Wonderful. All right. This feeling we're going to find, I don't know why, find one of the leopards here in the west, just moving along. It'd be cool if we heard that sawing of a leopard now, just up ahead. Alrighty, let's just carry on bumbling along here a little bit. Let's check this clearing and the edges of it. Maybe we'll get lucky with something moving along here. So we're just bumbling at the moment just to see. It's interesting that there's nothing on this top end. This is normally an area where we see a lot of impalas hanging around. Sometimes even zebra, wildebeest, but it seems pretty devoid of anything right now. Not to say that there was anything here, it's just interesting how they're using the southern parts of Sandy Patch today and not the sort of middle. I would have thought the middle would be the best place to be if you're an impala on a morning like this. So I just like to go nice and slow in these areas. We often have a lot of animals that move in these quarry thickets too. So just check carefully, try and maximize our chance of seeing anything. Track here, but it doesn't look fresh. Yeah, it's not fresh, but it's a track for, looks like a lioness. So no one would have driven this road yet. We'll be the first ones on it. So if it's a vehicle clipping it, then it's from yesterday or the day before, going up towards Baobab Dam. So I'm not sure who this would be, because we haven't had any lines up the side. Purple eye or silver eye or blue eye, whatever you want to call her. She was going south yesterday, so I don't think it would be her tracks. Anyway, they're not fresh, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Anyway, lots of hyenas also walking around here in this area. Okay, I'm going to just keep checking up this way and see what I can find. Hopefully we'll have some luck up here at some point.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Dan Cam. Not overjoyed not to be out there, I must say, as a misty morning. They are my favorites. I just love driving out when you're surrounded by mist. It's still damp, and normally you end up with very good sightings. It is Lauren, by the way. Good morning, hello, and I am sitting here with my cup of coffee. So, I will be trying to find things on the Dan Cam for you. I will put the effort in, but you are welcome to send in questions to me about anything. We can really go into some deep discussions, ocean or on land, as I sit here and try to find something. Let me give you a better view, though. It just looks cold and grey. And then when the mist lifts, oh, it's really spectacular here. Naturally, mist is just water that's suspended in the air. Mist and fog are pretty much the same things, except one is much thicker than the other. Oh, I got my favourite. Smurfy, that is a good question. We are also wondering when we will see the first impala lamb. The season is coming, and you can see most of the females are booming. You can really see that they're pregnant now. And a lot of the, it's not going to be 100% of the females, but most of them. And a lot of animals will hide their pregnancy, not intentionally, just physically. The way that their sort of body develops, their pregnancy will be hidden, and that will allow them to be as mobile as possible. But I'm pretty sure, when was last year? I think FC have a record of this. Who found the impala lamb last year and what date it was? But I'm pretty sure it's going to be November. But we used to have competitions here. My goodness, they were serious, competing with the boys. All heading out and seeing who can get the first lamb on camera. And the thing is, you do normally see them. It's trickier to get them on camera. And it was only the person that actually got the impala lamb live that won the prize. And we used to actually have an awards night for it. And the awards used to come from Tingana McLeopard face. Yes, hopefully there'll be some sort of competition this year as well, because impala lambs really they sort of signal visually to everyone the start of summer, the official start of summer. And it's just such a wonderful thing to see. Once you see one, you start seeing them everywhere. And as most of you know, the birthing strategy allows a relatively large proportion of them to go on and survive into adulthood. I mean, 50%, that's a large proportion. Of course, the predators are going to feast on it. And they'll capitalize on it. The offspring are weak, inexperienced, scared, and of course the predators will capitalize on that. But they do say within a period of anywhere between 3 to 5 weeks, 90% of all impala lambs are born. Because of course it's I wouldn't say a domino effect, but once that first impala ewe in the area gives birth, it's just from there a continuation, and you just start to see the lambs everywhere. But it takes about 2 days for an impala lamb to be really comfortable on its feet. Yes, it can get to its feet, but it's very wobbly. So November I can't remember the date. I will try and find it for you. But I'm going to get back to the task in hand of finding things on the dam cam, and we are going to send you over to Tristan.
Right, well, we found ourselves some ellies in the mist, which is also a really cool thing. They're one of the other ones I like in the mist. I don't know, they have some presence and atmosphere. Actually, initially, it was funny, we were driving up the road, and there was an elephant that was feeding behind the termite mound, but it was just like the top of its head and its trunk, and the way it moved its head, it almost was like a leopard slinking off the back of a mound, because you don't really expect an elephant's head on top of a mound. And kind of was like, whoa, is that a leopard? And I was like, no, wait, that's an elephant. It's definitely not a leopard. So it was nice to kind of get that surprise anyway of ellies. A nice little herd that's coming through. They're slowly going to emerge, I'm sure, from where they are right now across the road. The general direction is to travel towards where we are. And they've just been waylaid slightly by some nice little trees that they're feeding on. A lot of these trees will be starting to leaf now, so a lot of attention paid to those that are leafing, and I think they're eating off a scotia at the moment. I don't know if there's maybe some flowers. I saw yesterday some of the dwarf boer beans are flowering beautifully. They've got these beautiful red flowers that come out, and hopefully we'll be able to find one today. I'll show you guys. I love their flowers. They really are an explosion of color out here. It's just so peaceful this morning with the mist. I'm actually going to keep quiet for a little bit just for you guys to just listen to the sounds. Yeah, quiet it is. It's a slow waking up. There's a few drongos that are calling, and the odd spurfowl Franklin, but there's not a lot of else. I think it's because of the conditions. A lot of the birds probably are still down. They're not flying around too much because of how damp it is. Where feathers are probably a little wet. Wait for this to burn off, and then they start to move a lot more. I love the fact that these ellies are on top of the mounds and doing the thing. I actually think let's just go in here a little bit. We might get a much better view of these ellies on their mound and doing their thing. She's going to cross the road now and drag her herd with her. Maybe in this gap here we'll be able to see it isn't much better at all. Yeah, not winning here. I was hoping we were going to get a nice gap onto the mound where we could actually see these guys nicely, but there's just trees in the way everywhere here. But better, isn't it, Rat? Good. Always like when they climb these mounds like this and feed on top. It looks so out of place, having an elephant standing up there. They do it quite regularly, and it's weird because, when you walk into elephants, like one of your safest points is a termite mound, and you see them on top of like that, and you think, well, maybe that's not the best idea. But actually, if you've got that height and you're up there, they very seldom will attempt to try and get up to where you are. There's an intimidation factor of, obviously you try and sit as dead quiet as possible and hope that they just move past you, but if they do notice you, if you stand up, because you're above their eye line, there's an ability for them to kind of feel a little bit more intimidated and feel like you're bigger than you actually are, and then they try and kind of back off a little bit and do their own thing. That's always a good place to be, is on top of a mound. If you're ever in a tight spot with ellies, try and find quite a tall mound and get up there, and you should be a lot better off than if you're just on the ground. Bless you, Gert. Don't worry. Look at this one pushing its head through. Silly Ellie. They make me laugh though. So yes, they do. Not so much here because we have a plethora of food for them, so there's no real reason to do it. But if you go into Lower Zambezi, Mana pools, in Zimbabwe, Lower Zambezi in Zambia, that area, lots of elephants standing on their back legs. So they're trying to reach the pods of anna trees. And they can't do it because of the years of elephants being in that area. The lower branches are often fed upon giraffe and various other things too, so they have to stand on their back legs and then stretch their trunks up to be able to get the food that they need. So it is something that happens. I've seen here an elephant push slightly and go onto kind of quickly up onto its back legs, but not really stay there. In places like Mana, they stand straight up and they just do their thing and they hold it for a little bit while their trunk does their thing, and then they come back down again once they've broken the branch or gotten the pods that they want. So yeah, they can do it. It's pretty spectacular to see an elephant standing like that, and the size and then the amount of height that they get from going on their back legs, particularly those big bulls, is staggering. There's actually a very famous elephant in Mana pools. He actually crosses the Zambezi, so he goes across into Lower Zambezi sometimes, but mostly in Mana, called Boswell. And he got the name Boswell because of the fact that he always stands on his back legs when he's feeding, like a circus elephant. And there's a circus called the Boswell Wilkie Circus in southern Africa, and that's where that comes from. He's actually got a collar on him now. He's got beautiful tusks. He's kind of part of a study up that side to see where these Mana pool elephants and Lower Zambezi elephants go. You can see the herd is now starting to move. I'm pretty sure the babies will catch up fairly quickly now as the adults move off, and you find that the babies will try and get to where their moms are. They're not going to get left behind too long. The little one will be quite confident as long as it's got a sibling up there, but then eventually go. LP, no, unless they stand on an edge of quite a big cavity within the termite mound. The collapsing of the mound will not happen. These mounds are built so well, and the walls of them are so thick, and the way that the structure is built, the chambers and those kind of things create much like an elephant skull. It's like a honeycomb effect, so it's incredibly strong. So yeah, I've never seen one collapse. I've stood on my fair share of termite mounds and never had an issue at all. So yeah, I don't think so. I've never seen an elephant stuck in one, or evidence of an elephant standing on one and breaking. These things are super, super dense and super hard. So just testament to how amazingly built they are by such a small little insect. I always find that fascinating, that an insect is able to do that. So much atmosphere in this morning's kind of visuals. I love it. It looks so cool. Alright, they're going to cross the road. I'm just going to get onto the road again here. It's quite cool with them just walking down the road. Beautiful. All right, well, I think we'll probably let our Ellies go. They're going into the block here. Gets quite dense in there, so I don't want to really follow them through thickets. We'll carry on and see what else is lurking. Hopefully, like I say, we'll get some luck with some other things along the way.
We're just watching and admiring life going around the dam cam. That's a beautiful thing about it. You're watching it through a screen, but it's live. Everything's happening around it. Just going to give you some closer views. Still very misty. And then we can just sit and listen to the hubbub of life, everything happening around the dam on this misty morning. Beautiful, isn't it? Now it's time to search for animals. I've been admiring the views. I think that's what the dam cam is wonderful. It makes you feel like you're outside and you're actually not. But it's always worth continually checking around, because this dam wall and that road that you can see, that's central meeting in Vubu. That's the two roads meeting right there. This is a dam wall, and then as we move around, this road is Twin Dams Road, which is a really prominent road, and it starts from here. This is the very start of it, and that road going to the right takes you up to quarantine. I'm actually not sure it's even got a name. Takes you directly up to quarantine. Kelly, what a depressing question. I really don't think hippos are going to go extinct anytime soon. I think there are a lot more species in grave danger than hippos right now. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think when any species, from the smallest to the largest, is removed from an ecosystem, we don't know. We really, really don't know what effect that will have. And recently in my Maldives trip, a big focus of what we were doing out there, we were filming for WWF, Sharks and Rays, but a big focus of what we were talking about and looking at is interconnectedness. And really no species can survive in isolation. And I mentioned this a few days ago, but we keep focusing, and I say we, I mean across the board, humans, not WildEarth, we keep focusing on single species. Oh my goodness, the lion's in trouble, the rhino's in trouble, sharks are in trouble, let's protect them. But I think possibly what we need to evolve more towards is that no species can survive in isolation. You can't just protect one species. And just to give you an example with regards to sharks, suites of species are integral to any healthy ecosystem. So each is dependent on and can affect and change others within that ecosystem. So that's what you're asking about, the removal of hippos. But what that means is that there's a great interconnectedness between the smallest and the largest of animals who seemingly have nothing to do with each other. And a big focus of what we were looking at is sharks and coral. Coral's an animal, even though many people don't realize that. There's a huge relationship between the tiniest little polyp of a coral, which belongs to Cnidaria as part of the jellyfish family, and in sharks, which are obviously fish and huge apex predators. So that can be directly translated into the bush. So there's a huge relationship between apex predators like lions and the smallest organisms out here, possibly to insects. So I think that's a great question, but the removal of hippos, I honestly don't think we could even possibly begin to understand what effects that would have. And it may not be immediate effects. It may not be something that we see immediately. It may just be something that we can see over time. It may have a minor impact. It may have a major impact. Naturally, they're herbivores. They graze around water bodies. They also pump nutrients into water bodies through their defecation. So in answer to your question, I don't think we can possibly say, it's not as simple as, okay, you remove the impala, then the leopards have nothing to eat. It's so much more complex than that. Everything is interconnected. So although we can't see it, the impala will be connected to everything around it. The leopards are connected to everything around the leopards. And it's just this really messy food web that I don't think humans fully understand yet. We're trying, absolutely, but it is just so complex, and I'm not sure we do. So hopefully hippos won't go extinct. And I'm really not sure what the effects would be. I once got told the example, think of a human with 3 juggling balls, and they're juggling. And you can follow that. You can look at that human and you can look at the balls. Okay, yep, I can focus on all 3 balls. Yep, ding, ding, ding. Then bring another person and they're also juggling 3 balls. It becomes a little bit trickier to focus on all the balls, but you probably still can. 3 people, tricky, but maybe a human can. Okay, times that by 1,000. With 1,000 people in a room and they're all juggling 3 balls. That's what it's like to be an ecosystem. You can't possibly follow all of these balls and all of these relationships and what's happening. It's like a maze. That's the example I once read about a system that you're looking at in wild and how complex it really is and how it's impossible to follow everything. Interconnectedness is a wonderful topic. I have found my birds for the morning. We're gonna sit and enjoy these Egyptian geese. Our favorite duo are on the dam cam. I'm pretty sure it's the same ones we see all the time. Regularly having domestic disputes. Oh, I want to itch. Yoga. Oh, we're doing yoga on a log. How lovely. I'm sure they'll start calling soon. The noisiest birds in the bush, or at least one of them. But let's just sit and watch these highly entertaining birds and listen to the sounds around the dam. so lovely. I'm going to sit here and just enjoy watching these fabulous birds for a while.
Good morning and welcome to Bushwalk. We're out at Ndlovu Dam this morning, starting off with a little bit of birding and then from there heading out on our walk. It's absolutely lovely weather for a walk this morning. It's nice and cool, overcast, and there might be a little bit of rain a little bit later on. So my name is JP LaRue and behind the camera we've got BK. With overcast weather like this, we generally find that the animal activity remains out there a little bit longer compared to that of warm days where animal activity takes a very rapid dip, as heat also saps the animals from all their energy and they become inactive to try and spare and save as much energy as they can throughout the heat of the day. There's a few exceptions of animals that tend to move about in the heat of the day, and those are elephants as well as giraffe, which both has a number of different adaptations which enables them to move through the warmer parts of the day. We also sometimes find that certain other cat species will also do that, especially cheetah. They tend to be active into way later than any other cat species will do, and that is specifically to avoid competition with other larger predators. What we're going to do is we're going to start walking around the dam, see if there's any tracks that we can find of animals that are potentially that we would like to try and follow up on. If there's anything fresh and worthwhile to follow up on, we'll definitely see if we can go and find them. Hopefully we're going to find some elephant as well as giraffe this morning. And I'm also hoping that our buffalo is going to come back at some point towards the dam again. There's a breeding herd that's been around this area quite often, and it seems that they like to come here in the later parts of the morning. Well, we're going to head off and go and see what we can go and find. Let's go and see what Lauren has found so far.
The Egyptian geese, or goose, sorry, there's only one. There were two a moment ago, but there's one now. And they're probably the most common birds out here, but they never fail to entertain. And you see doing stretches, leg raises, opening the wings. That's exactly why humans should stretch every morning. If you watch any organism in the animal kingdom, once after a period of rest, the cats stretch. They do literally what is called the cat stretch in yoga. And sometimes they do the downward dog, if you like. My dog stretches. Birds do. Once they've been resting, they stretch the wings. Even insects, if they've been resting, they do some wing stretches. You watch butterflies do that. Wing exercises. And a great piece of advice I was once told is exactly humans should do that too. As soon as you wake up, stretch. Most of us do. But for those that don't, stretch. People stretch. Highly mobile animal. If you ever need advice for life, sometimes the best thing to do is look at animals. Literally, choose your favorite animal and just either watch them or immerse yourself in learning about them. And we could learn a lot from the animal kingdom about how to live our lives. Shamsung, hello there. Yes, that Egyptian goose has a lot to say. Always, always. Look at my camera skills today, everyone. Aren't it great? But yes, I wonder what they are saying half the time. A language that we don't understand. Very, very vocal. Ah, meeting up with your friend. Grey heron. I thought I was looking at a grey heron earlier. I actually think it might have been a thickney. Okay, bye goose. I'm going to let you walk out of frame and now focus on the grey heron. They're called ma'akanas in Maldives, and it's exactly the same animal, but the way they hunt is just spectacular, or the way they fish. The way they manipulate bait balls. And just dive in. Oh, it's incredible. It's still fishing, it's still similar techniques, but it's just amazing to see them work a bait ball. Because of course fish, when they're under threat, come together and form a bait ball, especially these tiny... Yeah, nothing. And it's just amazing how to see a bird, a predator like that, can use a bait ball to their advantage. Sorry, Mel, I hear that's a question from Kate, but the comms broke up. I'm just going to reposition my radio, if you can tell me that again. Mm-hmm. I'm not getting comms. All I can hear is it's a question from Kate, I'm afraid. I'm gonna love technology. Look at this little grey heron on its own little journey here. I don't imagine there would be really any fish in this pumped pan. This is the new pan. I don't imagine it'll have what it's looking for. Fish may arrive there. The eggs sometimes get transported with birds in their legs. So eventually they may arrive there. I mean, the bulk of their diet is fish after all. Sandra, you love the reflection. Yeah. Half a reflection right now. But I mean, they're also really looking for mollusks, worms, and insects. You'll find that around this pumped pan. And of course, with summer, there'll be more mollusks, there'll be more insects. Oh, nope. The reflection makes the legs look ridiculously long. Kimberly, they can do. I mean, crocodiles are entirely opportunistic. We don't have crocodiles around this water body. And essentially, they eat fish. That's the bulk of their diet. Fish. And a lot of it. But naturally, they are opportunistic. So when anything comes down to the water body, be it birds, mammals, they will seize that opportunity. But they're reptiles, so naturally they've got to wait until they've got enough energy to sort of launch out of the water like that. And that's what they do. They really, really launch and just open that mouth and hope for the best. And of course, sometimes they do get lucky. I mean, if you think of the Great Migration in the Masai Mara, that's a perfect example of how they are just really maximizing the wildebeest and the zebra and everything else that comes crashing through the waters. but they don't really hunt as such on land. So they really need to wait until something comes to that water body. And birds are tricky because birds can immediately just jump into the air. What are you doing, grey heron? But they absolutely would if they could. They're completely opportunistic. I mean, there's photos circulating on the internet right now of a crocodile with another crocodile in its mouth. Oof. I think crocodiles are fantastic. I know a lot of people are scared of them, and they're quite foreign to us. I mean, they're so different from anything that we can really relate to, but they are really fantastic. I've swam with crocodiles at the Mexican-Belize border on a really special place called Banco Chinchorro. And they feed the crocodiles lionfish. There's a huge lionfish invasion problem. And they're invasive species, and they're causing a lot of disruption in places that they shouldn't be. So they feed them. Now, whether you're for this or against this, I'm not diving into that, but that's what happens in that area. Once the crocodiles become too full, because they're reptiles, they can't eat anymore. Not like humans when we're like, oh, I'm too full, I can't eat anymore. But yet we eat dessert. What is the psychology behind that? I do not know. There's always room for more, right? But with crocodiles, there's really not. Once they're full, they're full. So they become quite, well, they're resting and digesting. They become very chilled, and they're full and happy, and probably lots of happy chemicals running through their body because their tummy is full. And you can literally swim right next to them. And over years, they've become quite habituated to humans. And it's quite an experience swimming with crocodiles, let me tell you that. Especially a blind one. I swam with a blind one. And I mean, she was 2 meters away from me. But there's lots of steps you take. I mean, you don't just jump in. You know, there's a professional there, and just like when you're walking or driving with the apex predators here, as lion, there's a way to be, there's a way to handle them. There's also a way to be with the crocodiles. You must always keep your shoulders out of the water. You must always face the crocodile. Do not turn your back to it. You must always give eye contact. Always have your feet on the bottom of the ground, on the bottom of the water body, so you're standing. At any moment, you can just stand up. You're not standing, but at any moment you can. And always keep your shoulders out of the water. Following every little movement. Okay. This grey heron is providing joy no end. So we're going to stay focused on him for a little while longer.
If you are a WildEarth explorer, then we are excited to announce that there is another unique prize for you to win. Sign up to be an explorer before the 16th of October 2021, and you and a friend could be heading off to an eco-training ranger experience. This 2-night opportunity offers a living and learning adventure where you will combine seeing incredible nature with gaining knowledge on how animals live in the wild. You will approach dangerous game on foot, learn how to track, do some 4x4 driving, and have an exclusive opportunity to join the WildEarth team behind the scenes on the live show. After each action-packed day, you will relax around the campfire and listen to the nighttime choir of animal sounds before you drift off to sleep. WildEarth explorers, it's in your nature.
Civilized to just found some black rhino tracks. A mother with a calf. The calf tracks are so small. They're somewhere here in this area, but it's too dense to walk this way. So we're going to walk around where it's not so dense. Let's hope we get lucky.
And sometimes you often drag their feet forward and deposit the scent mark, which is that what they use to patrol their territory.
We managed to get a glimpse of the black rhino, but for safety reasons, of course, we held back and we walked a different way, but it was such a fantastic experience. We didn't just focus on the big things, because it's not all about the big things. We focused on army ants and lots of dung. Civilized did an incredible job, but it's up to the judges now.
Something very, very interesting. I didn't plan this, but this is a scene, rarely seen. This is what we call a journey of giraffe. So beautiful.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Oh, we're just slowly bumbling along. Actually, we're going a little bit quicker on Gari Main at the moment. We had a report of a leopard crossing and then going up into a tree, so we're just trying to see if we can find it quickly. I don't know who it is or which leopard we're going to find, but apparently the visual's not great, so just trying to see. It's a little bit further down. I'm a bit worried because the signal's also a little sketchy where we're going. But, you know, we'll try and see if we can find a place where we can settle and for it to be okay. Sounds like it's somewhere close to Twin Dams, and I'm keen to see who it is, if it's Sabui or if it's Kalamba, Tandi. Could be any of those three. Also found tracks from Mulawati crossing from Djuma into Hoffman's. Quite fresh tracks from this morning, or early this morning, or sort of midnight area around that time. On top of a lot of the damp from this mist, so there's a good chance that he crossed early. He always walks in that area and crosses before we ever get to him or see him, unfortunately. I always try and follow his tracks. I don't know why I do it. Like, I expect a different result every time, but I never really get it. That's beside the point, you know. We try. All right, so like I say, this leopard apparently is south of the boundary, not on the northern side of the boundary, but it's in a tree, so either that means it's got a kill or there's something else going on. I don't know, brakes, don't run in front like that. So I'm interested to see what's happening there. So we'll have a little scratch around and look. Should be just up ahead here. It'd be nice if it's Kalamba. There's this vehicle in front here that's it. I'll just try to head down in that direction. No, it wasn't this vehicle, it was another vehicle. Hey, just. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll go have a look. Awesome. Thanks, guys. So they're just telling us exactly where it is. It's just Twin Dams for Boonpan area, so we'll try and have a little squiz from where we are. See if we can pick it up. I wonder which tree it's in. There's a tree. I've seen Indian a few times, but let's check. It's probably going to be a bit deep. Not going to be ideal. I'm sure we'll see cars. Be surprised if there's no vehicles. You can see this leopard crossed here. And there's the vehicles there. The leopards. And it's actually going to be good visual for our camera, because we have a decent enough camera to get that far. That's alright, eh, Gert? It's not the worst. We've dealt with worse than this before, inside of another property. Of course, now it's facing away from us, so I have absolutely no idea who it is. We're going to rely on James and the likes to identify via spot pattern. The spots look like they're quite close together. We need that leopard to turn its head this direction. Is it Shasha? Might be Shasha. Looks quite bulky, doesn't it? Could be Shasha. There's the kill in the tree to the top right of it. Looks like a little duiker or something. But yeah, nice. Okay, so Ellies and leopard, kind of things that we want. Quite moody in the tree with the mist in the background. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the best visual as is inside Little Gari at this stage, and so, we're just going to have to be a little patient and sit here and, like I say, we'll try and get an ID. It's difficult from the angle that I have because all we've got is its back and its kind of legs. You guys will probably be able to see it a lot better than I can, and you'll be able to figure out who exactly we're looking at. But my gut tells Shasha, I don't know how he would have gotten down here and eaten that much already, given where he was last night. Those rosettes look quite tightly packed together. Let's have a look and see. I mean, it would be nice if it was Kalamba. That would be ideal. I don't know if it is. She doesn't normally have spots, or their spots don't look that way. To be fair, it's also so obscured, it's a little tricky to know who we're looking at. It's definitely quite a bulky cat, whichever one it is. It's not Sabui though, I don't think. It's difficult though, the angle is all wrong. But hopefully you guys at home are getting a nice clear view and can, like I say, help us out. So a lot of the time with leopards, when we identify them, we go off their look. So like if we can see their face from far even, then it's fine, as long as you can see the facial features. I find it's much easier if there's the kind of face is present. Other people, use spot patterns and things like that, but if I can just see their faces, they all have these slightly different looks about them. But yeah, I'm afraid this is what we're going to have for now. It's going to take a bit of time for us to be able to see it any better. I'm hoping at some point this leopard decides to kind of shift and turn, or try and sit in a way that its head turns back towards us, and then maybe if we go back a little bit and then shoot through like that now. It's impossible. I can't make out enough detail to, even with binos, to figure out who that is. But it's a leopard with a kill in a tree, which is cool. We were saying it would be nice to have a leopard in the mist. So I suppose we kind of got half of it right. It's just wrong side of the road, isn't it? Should have been on our side. But these things happen. It's the way life works. Sometimes your side, sometimes their side. We got lucky as well, with the lions when they killed the zebra, and the last couple of days it's been just not too far from the Gari main sort of boundary, or southern boundary. So we got lucky that they killed it there. We've been able to view them as much as we have, and these guys have been asking a lot about updates on them. Because the Nkuhumas have been spending their time on Hofmanns, which only a very select few can actually go to. So yeah. All right, so we'll try to figure out a way to see if we can see who this is, or which leopard we've got. In the meantime, though, you can take a look at what you can experience if you come and join us out here on Djuma.
Not found anything else on the dam cam so far, but I'm going to keep trying. The mist is not lifting. I need that sun to burn through. We got a glimpse of the sunshine yesterday, which was fabulous. Both Tristan and I were over the moon to see that little bit of sunshine. Sun is everything out here, but of course so is water. So in order to get the water to nourish the ground, we naturally do need a little bit of rain. And rain comes with these overcast days. Just about straight through there is Timbeta. It used to be Ingas. Some of you will know it as Ingas. And they've now got a little water point. So what that also means is that animals don't need to come down to the Pans and Gowrie Dam. There's also a water point there. I've actually been forgetting about that one when I talk about water points. It's relatively new and I keep forgetting. It wasn't there when I first came. But the animals will know their water points and they map it out in their mind. They learn it. It's not just random that they go to water. They know exactly which pans and which little puddles and which water bodies they're actually going to. Most animals can smell water from quite a distance as well. Especially elephants. Elephant movement and migration routes are not random. I hope I can get out this afternoon to go visit Mrs. Wig. What am I going to do without my daily visit to Mrs. Wig? Rimbo, you're asking, have I ever witnessed an elephant something? I'm getting there, I'm halfway through. Breaking a tusk. No, I haven't witnessed that, I'm afraid. Naturally, it does happen. You see elephants with broken tusks all the time, but it's not something that I have ever seen happen. Normally it's from the males. You can hear them clanging their tusks from quite a distance. Oh, it sends shivers down my spine when I hear that noise, because it's their teeth. But naturally they're very, very strong. But they can break, just as with anything. So those older bulls, which have led quite a lifetime of fighting and being the big guy, you'll often find that their tusks are either cracked, chipped, or broken. I'm determined one day to get a predator on the dam cam. After all the dam cam duties we do now, I'm determined one day to get a predator. Hello, Goose. I'll come back to you. Don't go anywhere. See, this still extends quite far. This is a lodge. We obviously don't put the lodge on camera. There are people staying there, but the water still extends quite far back. That wallow used to be, when I was here last, this wallow was, the elephants were just loving it. I think I had maybe a week in a row of incredible elephant sightings here, but naturally that was about 6 weeks ago, so things changed. But this was a popular spot with the elephants. You can actually see that. You can see that. You see how sort of concave it is, how deep into the ground that hole is in the distance. That's been completely caused by elephants just constantly rolling their bottoms in it. I'm going to continue my mission of searching around the dam cam to see what I can find.
Well, we're still with this leopard. It's Sabi. She turned her head and kind of looked, so I fished that it wasn't her because I thought the rosettes were too big, but if you look on her top right shoulder, now that it's clearing up a bit, it's not as misty, you can actually see those little small rosettes that are together there. So she's just got a little diker kill, and is very, very much static at this stage. She's not moving too much at all, which, I suppose granted she's got a kill, it's misty, it's perfect bed weather, she doesn't really have to do much. At least, like I say, as it clears up, it'll get easier to see her as the mist reduces and lifts. She'll become far more clear than what she initially was because of how misty it was. And while the view is not bad, it's not great, it's not bad to have a leopard, and we've had worse. Shasha at times yesterday was far more obscured than this. This is just at long distance. That's the only problem. What we'll do is I might just at some point reposition slightly. Won't do it right now, but we'll reposition slightly at some point just to, get ourselves off the road so that cars can pass us, and see if we can't just get a slightly different gap here, that we can see it a little bit better. What she's up to, but it's not bad. Like I say, we're pretty good where we are. Hopefully she'll start feeding at some point. There's not a lot of meat left there. It seems like she's already eaten most of the back legs, and it's just a bit of skin kind of coming down. So I think she'll finish this pretty quickly. She'll be here this afternoon for sure. Whether she'll be up in the tree or not is the next guess. But the fact that there's no cub there probably tells me that she might have lost this last cub. It should have been at the age where it should have been here. Anyway, we'll see if it arrives or if she goes to go and call it. It'll be a good indicator of what's happening with her and the cub. All right, just sit and enjoy. Spots is always a good thing to have. Still with Sabi, it's not going to be much change here for a while, I don't think. I think she's just going to rest and nap and take it easy. It's a perfect kind of day for her to chill. It's not like there's lots of sun that's hitting her, that's going to force her to come down and find some shade. She looks as though she's very comfortable where she is. She's got the kill up there. It's cool. So really no need for her to be too busy. But just saying now that I don't know if she still has a cub anymore, given that she's got a kill here. That cub should be of the age where it would be taken to kills. And I've scanned the whole tree. I don't see anything. The guys there say they don't see any sign of a cub either. So maybe she's lost that second one now. It could be that it's not there and she hasn't fetched it yet. But the kill looks a little old and kind of drawn out. So it would surprise me if that little one wasn't here. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe, because I see it's only 2 vehicles at a time, so you never know. Maybe the cub is there somewhere. I just can't see it anywhere. Just looking. There's hyenas on the ground. But yeah, I don't see a cub anywhere. I'll ask the guys just to check and let me know. Seems like the guys are having a bit of a tough time also with the view from their side. It seems like the way she's lying, there's not a great view of her face. So they come this side, and then this side is like looking as though they're looking straight up at her, which is not always a comfortable way to view a leopard. But like I say, see one hyena that's there, but I mean that's literally just an ear that's sticking up, just to the bottom right of the tree. Can't tell you who it is right now. Maybe eventually somebody will figure it out. Although the hyena's now moved. Yeah, I don't see any sign of a cub, but it's not, like I say, to say that there isn't one around there somewhere. You know, normally a leopard with a kill is a 3-vehicle sighting, so when there's only 2 vehicles at a time, it makes me think that maybe the cub is there. So with hyenas around, I would have expected the cub to be up in the tree with its mom. It might not be lying on the same branch, but it will be lying somewhere there, and there's definitely nothing in the tree itself. Sirietta, she does look comfortable, doesn't she? She's got her typical leopard tree-hugging pose down, feet all dangling, and her just kind of staring off into the distance. It's Leopard 101. That's what you master early on, and she certainly is doing it well. It's nice that she's been hanging around a little bit on the southern side. You know, we haven't seen a lot of her, but she has been on the southern boundary a little bit, and maybe with, you know, a new set of cubs or something like that, and with Langa being to the south and kind of moving around there, and we might maybe just see her pushing a little bit more into Djuma again, which would be really nice. I'd be super happy if she did come up onto our side. She's a beautiful cat and super relaxed, so always nice to get another female that's like that. Feels like at the moment, though, we're just on the fringes of everybody's territory, which sucks. It would be nice to have that central kind of leopardess, and I suppose Kalamba is that, except that she's just got too big a territory that she's always all over the place, including not our area. Alright, so it seems like she's moving. Maybe she's going to make her way up towards the kill. I hope she doesn't come down, because if she comes down, then we're done. We're not going to be able to see much. So I'm hoping she's just going to go up towards the kill and settle there and have a bit of a feed. Looks like that's what she's going to do. There we go. It's a horrible tree to watch her feed in. Perfect for a leopard, though. Just how funny is it? It's Murphy's Law. We were talking about this morning how I haven't seen a leopard with a kill in a tree, and then this is what happens. So Jade, it starts pretty early on, generally from about 8 weeks old. They're starting to figure out that they can use their little claws and paws to pull themselves up trees, because mom will start to do those kinds of things, and they explore and they climb small little fallen logs, and then by about 12 weeks, so 3 months, they are pretty solid at climbing. I've seen some females teach the little ones. So, and how they do that is they will climb a little bit, a big tree, just something small. They climb up it, and then they call from up top there. And then the cubs come running. And as they get to where the mom is in the tree, once they've climbed, then she jumps out, and then she calls from the bottom. And then the cubs got to negotiate coming down, and then it goes up again, and she calls, and then comes down, and back and forth like that. And that then typically gets them climbing pretty quickly. But there is also an instinctual part about it, that safety is in a tree, and so they practice and start very early on. And like I say, within 3 months, they're pretty adept at getting up into trees and out of the way of any sort of predators. If you saw Tiani's cubs, when we first saw them, the day that we saw them the first time, they climbed a tree already at that age. So those little ones were, I don't even think they were 12 weeks at that point. I think they were only about 10, 11 weeks. And they were climbing pretty easily. Visual's not great, unfortunately. Now, maybe try and reposition slightly, and we can maybe get a slightly better angle on where her head is. But there's more meat than I actually thought. That back leg, it's hanging down there. So she definitely will be here this afternoon. She's not going to go anywhere this afternoon. Amazing how you can hear the crunching of the bone from here. I reckon if we go forward a little bit, we're going to have a better angle at some point. I just want to actually see around her face there. Yeah, I think if we go forward, we might do well. Incredible camouflage. Imagine if she sits now and her tail doesn't dangle. You could easily drive past that without knowing a leopard's in there. You'd have to know the bush quite well and be looking properly to spot her if she sits down. When they stay standing like this in that, it's going to struggle to spot them. All right, I'm going to see if I can just get a slightly better position there where we can actually see her nicely. And while we do that, we'll kind of figure out what our plan will be after we leave here.
We're in the center of the reserve. It's a much more open area, so a completely different experience. It's also in the afternoon, so just a little bit hot, shall we say. We're following some lion tracks, and then we found the scat of a lion cub. So we didn't see the lions, but we decided to leave the area. It was getting a bit too dense and a bit too thick. So we've come all the way down to the water hole to have a little break, and then we're going to keep walking and see what else we can find. And TJ himself actually reminded us at the start of the walk that when you're on the vehicle, it's all about observing. But when you're on a walk, it's all about immersing yourself in nature, being part of the ecosystem. And that's exactly what happened today.
This is a battle of two great carnivores of the African wilderness. Whew. Whoa! You don't want to be under those jaws. Definitely, this round goes to the lion. Look at that. Fantastic.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth.
Nature as therapy. Whenever I'm feeling stressed or upset or annoyed, as we all do, I just step outside here and just look where I am and just realize that you're in nature. Nature can do wonders. Even if it's just looking out your window or going to the local park or the local playground or wherever you walk your dog, get out in nature. I'm just doing a slow pan. Wouldn't it be lovely if we got to see Sabui's cubs? I got to see, or cub, sorry, I believe one is no longer alive. We got to see them as very young little cubs on Little Gowrie many weeks ago now. It was such a joyous, wonderful sighting. And of course one hasn't made it, but it would be so lovely if Tristan manages to get a glimpse of the other one. No luck. I think all the mammals are hiding. You can see the birds fluttering around. Normally we have lots of impala here. A resident water buck. Sometimes the wildebeests come down. Sometimes the cats walk by. We've had some incredible sightings in this area. Right next to camp. I wonder where the Talamatis ended up this morning. They are traveling very, very far. I'm sure Tristan will have an update. I wonder if Darkmane is still there. Possibly. It's amazing. I know these roads so well, and you're just looking at them from a different perspective. Marty, there are lookouts. I don't think it'd be very wise for everyone to eat at the same time. There's always a lookout. How they decide who the lookout is yet to be understood. There are always lookouts. Predators can sneak up at any point, of course. There's always someone smelling, listening, and naturally looking. Impala can't really afford to ever be relaxed, and that's why even when I go running around quarantine, they're more than familiar that I'm not a threat. They know, they see me every single day, and they're obviously laughing at how slow I am at running. But they still run, even although intrinsically they do know that I am not the threat, even although I am a large, could potentially be predator. They can't ever let their guard down, and that's how sometimes they're very habituated to vehicles in this area, but sometimes you'll just find they move away from the vehicle because they know that they just can't ever afford to get too relaxed out here. Always got to keep their guard up 24/7. But there are always lookouts, more than one normally, and that's why the bigger the herd, the more safety you can secure for yourself. I don't care. Oh, I've just been told I'm back. I didn't know I wasn't there. Okay. I don't know if I have to apologize for anything there, but I didn't realize I wasn't there. But apparently I'm back. So hi, everyone. We are back. We are back on the damn cam. Okay, now the damn cam is not moving. Mel, are we still live? Sorry about that, everyone. I do believe you're back with us on the damn cam. I was talking and talking and talking and talking. But I don't think anyone heard any of it. But that's okay. Please send in your questions and discussion topics. It's a little bit tough being on the damn cam, so more discussions we can get into. I would absolutely love it. You want to talk about pizza? We'll talk about pizza. But let's do it. I know that many of you send in questions, and there are so many questions that can't choose everybody, but now is a perfect opportunity to dive deep into some questions. And just think, this landscape's going to completely transform soon. Right now, you can see right across Mvubu Road. That road, you can see right across it. I mean, you can't see right up to the cut line, but it's pretty open. I think we're in for a really thick, lush summer as well. If we get a lot of water, I wonder what we're in store for, because the dams won't be able to handle too much water once it becomes too excessive. Ah, this is a really good perspective of that dead knob thorn. I always point out, this is how I gauge the water levels instead of putting a meter stick in there. I've just gauged it from this tree. And if you see that main branch, that sort of, yeah, the main branch that's now light grey because it's so dry, the water levels in summer were submerging that. Can you believe it? That's how much water we had. You could not see that main sort of branch running right horizontally. And now look at it. It's just good if you can make sort of reference points in terms of water levels. Of course, you can find out how much rain fell that night before and how much rain fell, but really, when you want to gauge water levels, look at something that's not moving. I did not copy that mail. The comms are extremely bad. I'm just going to once again reposition my radio. The electricity is going on and off here, on and off. I'm not sure if that's something to do with that. I don't think it favors anyone, really. I mean, it's just moisture in the air. It's not really affecting hearing. I mean, I guess dense fog would affect vision, especially for humans when we're driving in it. It's not good to drive in fog, but I mean, otherwise, I don't think it would favour predator or prey. Their senses are all still sharp in that regard. It doesn't affect your sense of smell, it doesn't affect your hearing, and most of the predators are very chemical. So if it was really thick, then they do tend to call it fog, but I mean, mist, I really don't think would make a difference, especially since it's just been nighttime. And it's been dark. So at least when the sun comes up and you get a little bit of ambient light, it's going to help the prey species, if you like. But I don't really think mist would make a difference, to be honest. It's not that weather conditions favor a predator or prey. That's probably not the correct term. It's just that some weather conditions, mainly predators, can just utilize to their advantage, in that it's winter right now, and I just showed you a sort of wide view of the landscape and how open it is. It's incredible. It's unbelievable how far you can see. And I mean, 6 weeks ago when I was here, yes, it was very open, but now it's even more so. That's going to change soon, though, with the rain that's coming. But it's harder for predators. It's harder for them to sneak up. Maybe not dogs and hyenas, they hunt by coursing, but for your cats, for those predators that really rely on ambush and stalking, how can they hide? What's there to hide between? Yes, they are camouflage. Your lions are obviously tawny. Your cheetahs have got spots. Your leopards have got rosettes. But really, when you think about it, it's very difficult to hide from something that's constantly looking for you. And you're fighting a losing battle. The prey are always looking for the threat, and you are the threat. So how are you really going to hide? So it becomes a lot more challenging. That's why the leopards are all stealing from one another. Kleptoparasitism. They're all stealing from one another because it's very difficult to steal from everyone. Okay, I'm going to sit longer and see what else I can find on the dam cam. We're just going to sit for a moment or two and listen to all the sounds around the dam. And it's so tranquil. I'm gonna get another cup of coffee, I think, and just enjoy this.
Well, we've been fighting our signal a little bit, unfortunately, everybody. We tried in all kinds of places. We even got an invite from the landowners on Little Gowrie to go in, so we went and repositioned right near the kill so we could see her much better. But alas, no luck. We didn't manage to get anything to work nicely for us, but that's okay. We at least still have some view of her, and it's not a bad view from here at all, actually. That's pretty decent. She's still just feeding away. There's not a huge amount left on this particular carcass. She's gotten to the point now where she's kind of just eating mostly skin and that stuff, but it does not bode well for her still having a cub, this sighting. The fact that there is no sign of the cub here, the kill is old, like I say. She's got gashes all down her right side, which she didn't have the last time we saw her. Looks like she's been fighting with somebody, and that's led to a situation where she is unfortunately got, well, I think probably has lost this cub, which is sad because she's been good so far. She's raised 2 litters on her own. You know, she's managed to raise the litters just fine. So it's amazing that she's been able to kind of do that. And the third one, well, is what it is. You know, leopards lose litters every now and then. There's quite a lot of leopard activity in the area. So, you know, you're in a situation where these cats are going to have tough times. We've spoken about it. You know, there's a lot of at play at the moment, lots of different individuals that are moving around and basically essentially doing their thing, and lots of young males, and that's maybe what's causing a sort of difficult period for these females with their little ones. If you look at you know, Kalamba, she struggled a little bit. Tandi's done well, but when she was denning here around this area, she was also struggling a little bit. And then, you know, Sabi now as well. Where she is Malawati is the dominant male, but you've got Tsemba moving around, Shasha, there's Tandi, Kalamba, they also come into this area. Lots of lions around at the moment, a lot of hyenas too. So it's just making life, I think, quite tricky for our girls to raise cubs successfully at the moment. Lots and lots of danger around every corner, but that's part and parcel of being out here. It's the reality of an existence as a predator, is that you're going to have constant competition, and raising of offspring is always fraught with danger. And like I say, she's done well to have raised as many as she has raised. It's a shame she's lost these 2, but unfortunately, there's not much she can do. She'll just have to pick up her head and go. I say that she's lost them. I mean, maybe there's an off chance that she still has a cub, but if you look at those wounds and you see this behavior, the likelihood is that cub is no longer with us, which is very, very sad. You know, it's not what we want to see. We want to see as many little leopard cubs as possible being raised to adulthood, but the statistics are not on their side ever. These guys, unfortunately, you know, have a very low success rate, particularly in an area like this. A lot of hyenas here, so you find a lot killed by them, and then also male leopard interaction. So you're only getting about every 2 to 3 leopards out of 10 are raised to adulthood, which is a very low number if you actually think about it. It's not a lot of individuals. So yeah, afraid probably in all likelihood that she's no longer got the little ones. Push baby, I'm not sure. I mean, I suppose if there is a lack of blood flow, it would lose feeling. It's maybe why they reposition a lot of the time. You see, they'll sit for a little while, and they'll get up and move, sit for a little while, get up and move. And their legs are constantly shifting underneath their body weight, so they're constantly moving the feet and tail and those kinds of things. But I mean, it's just science. If you lose blood flow, there's loss of feeling at some point. So yeah, I would imagine that it does happen, and that's why they don't always just lie in the same place all the time. Even when they're on the ground, you know, they roll and move just because of that issue with blood flow. It amazes me, though, that I'm just thinking now that we have signal where we are right now, but we're not 50 meters away. There is nothing. It's a crazy thing how signal works, and it's all to do with trees and the ability for the waves to hit you in the right way to meet the antenna. It's a whole complicated thing that is ever changing because of the amount of growth of vegetation and the way the bush changes. That's why it's not something that's easily solvable. There's constant manipulation of our signal, but it always shocks me at how small the margins can be. It can be like 1 meter and you get or you don't get, just depending on how the oscillation of the signal actually hits the vehicle at the time. There goes a whole bunch of hyenas. I think something dropped and one of them got a leg. It's caused everybody to go into a mild panic. I saw 4 of them when I was there. Now I didn't check too much because I was trying to kind of focus on getting signal. So I didn't actually take them in. But yeah, looks like 2 of the younger ones, and didn't see who the other 2 were. Nice just to hang out with Sabi. You know, we don't see her all that regularly, so getting to chill with her for a little bit and having her on a kill. I don't think I've ever seen her on a kill. Trying to think, certainly not on Djuma. Seen her on kills on Chitwa actually, but never on Djuma. So it's nice to kind of hang out with her for the morning and know that she's not going to cross a boundary or anything like that. We can just stay, and she should stay too. I shouldn't have an issue with spending time with her. We're lucky though, we got the gap that we do. That tree, even when we went up close there, has got all kinds of branches and things in the way. So to get a fairly clear view like we have from here is a bit of a blessing in disguise. As much as it would be nice to be closer, because we've got, obviously Gato has a lot more room to work with then, and a lot more things that he can show you. But from here we actually get a fairly nice open view of her, which works just very far away. So we have to sit dead still on the vehicle, otherwise it rocks the boat a little bit. So if it does move, I apologize. It's normally me that's moving, not anybody else, and wobbles the camera slightly. Jades, no, not fully docktail. I say docked because that's the kind of word that they use in sort of puppy, or I mean in dog terms. But no, I haven't ever seen a leopard with its tail completely removed. I've seen leopards with broken tails, with tips of the tails missing, short tails, but never completely. So not like the 2 Salala lionesses that had, I mean, that looked like somebody had literally come and taken the tail off right at the bum area. There was not even little stumps on those lionesses to speak of. So yeah, I never had that extreme a look on a leopard. I would imagine it would be very difficult for a leopard if they lost their entire tail. Remember, their tail is a huge part of their ability to balance and to climb. And so, and you know, without that, I think it would be quite difficult in some ways. I think they'd still be able to climb and they'd be able to do the things they need to do, but you know, with the carcass and all of that, it would definitely affect their ability to balance while hoisting. So yeah, I think a tailless leopard would not be a fun thing. I'm sure that leopard would not be happy about it. Not that a lion would be happy about its tail being taken off as well. A little less important in lions than it is in leopard, or cheetah for that matter. So we'll wonder if one day we'll see it. You know, it's one of those things that happens when an animal gets, so like in the lion's cases, both the tails that were lost were due to hyenas. In a leopard's case, though, those hyenas would be, you know, they would, if they got hold of a leopard in that fashion, would ultimately probably kill them. In the case with the lions, is that the hyenas would have, you know, probably killed their well, wouldn't be able to kill the lions because the other lions came in, but with a leopard, there's an ability for the hyenas to overpower it and kill it. So that's maybe why we don't see so many sort of tailless leopards as opposed to tailless lions in many ways. Alrighty, well, we'll continue to sit with Sabi and see what else she gets up to.
Sea Forest is a brand new experience on the WildEarth channel. Freedivers will explore the great African sea forest in Cape Town, while naturalists explain what we are seeing.
Like trees in a forest, these kelp provide food and shelter for many, many species.
Magical encounters with shy marine life, crustaceans, seals, and so much more will all bring a window of calm into an otherwise chaotic world.
We had a very exciting start to our morning this morning. Today, it's our guided sunrise safari with Mike, and we started by looking at the moon through a telescope, which was incredible. It's been a very different drive from all the other ones, very interactive.
Your pigeal gland is something the Hippos have in common.
Hi. This morning's drive with Mike was thoroughly enjoyable. He really engaged us, but we also did some birding, and I managed to add a few new birds onto my list. Overall, every single experience with all the competitors has been really incredible, but it's up to the judges now.
Looks like it's a very difficult climb because every time it tries to climb, the ground is breaking, so it slides down. But it's the only one. Look at that. That is the call of desperation with a cub. It's like, what are you doing, mommy? Oops. Oof.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
It's a huge privilege to be in these incredible places with these amazing animals. I love filming lions. When they do get up and do something, it's always spectacular. When they are playing, are incredibly fun to watch, especially subalterns and cubs. I love being in the bush and working in these incredible places with these amazing animals. We want to bring it to you so that you can almost feel like you're right there and be able to experience it and enjoy it the way we are.
I'm just searching the ground right now looking for some lapwing activity. Blacksmith lapwing, that is. Now I saw, Shamsung, you mentioned something really interesting about an ecosystem. And you're asking about how many ecosystems are around the dam, and that's a really fascinating question, because really when we say the word ecosystem, what are we actually talking about? Sometimes I have to do that to myself, I have to think, what are we actually trying to say? When we're saying incubation, what does it mean? When we're saying this, what does it mean? And I'm talking about myself here. What are you actually trying to talk about? And basically an ecosystem, the correct definition, and I'm going to read this to you, is a geographic area where plants, animals, and other organisms, as well as weather, landscape, everything, and again, I'm going to use that word, is interconnected to form a bubble of life. And I love that. It's a bubble. Everything is bubbles. And so you could look at this dam. I'm going to give you a nice wide view, as wide as I can go. So this in itself, this entire thing that you're looking at right now is an ecosystem. So it's a geographic area. It's Gowrie Dam. Plants, vegetation, you can see all around. The trees, the grass, the plants that will flourish, the algae, everything. Then organisms, okay, we've got some birds. That's about all we've got right now. But birds, elephants, anything that comes to the dam, anything that's in the dam, from crustaceans, mollusks, insects, fish, eggs, anything that's around the dam, that all forms part of your ecosystem, as does the landscape, as does the terrain, as does the fact of how does its dam form, how did it fill. And that's obviously going to change over time. And then, of course, you have your weather. We've been talking about the weather all morning. It's been really, really misty. It's lifting now. It's everything together. So, Shamsang, that was a really interesting point, that this entire thing we're talking about is an ecosystem. But you can then begin to break it down into separate ecosystems. Now, it takes a lot of work, but I guess if you look at the body of water alone, that in itself is an ecosystem. Is there movement? What's the nutrient levels? Stagnant? Is there an inflow? Is there an outflow? We know there's not. Is there rain adding to the water? What's living inside the water? What's the temperature inside the water? So you then could talk about the actual water body itself as an ecosystem. So really, there could be endless amounts of ecosystems. You could draw a little bubble around many different things. But on a whole, when we talk about the ecosystem, I'm talking about everything from the plants to the animals to the external factors, biotic, abiotic, everything to form this little bubble of life. And then you can go deeper into bubbles and talk about sort of the phenomena of each bubble. So every organism has its own bubble. If you think about these Egyptian geese who look like they're just having the best time, what are you guys arguing about now? They've got their own little bubble of life. They've got their own phenomena. The way that they see the dam, I mean, they're always here, it's territorial, will be different from how others see the dam. I mean other organisms, I don't mean people. How they interpret it, how they perceive it, how they smell it, how they see it, how they hear it, how they feel it. So then you can start drawing bubbles. It's not ecosystems, but you can start drawing little bubbles around each organism. It's such an interesting phenomenon. I really suggest if you're interested, you can read more about it. It's really, really interesting to start to think about how... Oh, I feel like they just saw something. I'm not happy with it. I'm just going to check. You never know. And to really start to understand ecosystems and interconnectedness is how to then really fully understand how everything sees the environment. How does a leopard survive? How does it see the environment? How does a lion survive? How does an elephant survive? How does a mosquito survive? In order to fully understand life, especially wildlife, you've got to fully try and understand all the interconnectedness. But that's a really good point. Thank you, Shamsin. I don't know what these Egyptian geese saw. Maybe nothing. James Richard. I also saw that it was James Henry that won last year. No! Why was it James Henry that won the competition? I'm only joking. I love James. I love him so much, and he was my mentor, as you know. But James Richard, you are saying that James Henry had his first Impala lamb on the 6th of November. That's actually earlier than my memory told me for some reason. Okay, 6th of November. That's really not too far away. It's exactly a month. of November. Okay, so really, I'm actually looking at the screenshots that you posted, James, and wow, it's green. My goodness, it's green. That is just telling me that we've got a month and it's going to look like that. We'll have lambs running around. I don't know why I thought it was later than that, but thank you. James Richard is very good at remembering dates for everything. I tried to write these things down, but yes. Thank you, James. The whole ecosystem, but the whole environment, sorry, I didn't mean to say ecosystem, the whole environment will completely transform, and then when we see these lambs running around, it's going to be so joyous. It's going to lead to some interesting sightings, things that are not so easy to watch, but yes. I also saw that someone said they miss hearing a leopard sawing. And I miss hearing a leopard song too. My goodness, it's been a really long time since I've heard a leopard song. It used to be all the time, either on the dam cam or on drive. And you're right, I think it was Katie who said that. I miss that too. Ray, you're asking, when are the monitor lizards and snakes most active? Generally, monitor lizards are always around. This is normally the tree. I mean, they are reptilian, they are ectothermic, so they're not exactly loving life in winter. They do have to make some specialized adaptations, but normally this knob thorn here, what used to be a knob thorn, you will find a lot of monitor lizards. Summer is obviously when they thrive. That's when they become really, really active and their diet changes with all the sort of plethora of food around. It's warmer. And snakes, generally snakes are said to go into sort of form of estivation. It's not hibernation. Hibernation is normally a term you use for mammals. But normally for snakes you would say brumation. And it's a temporary state of dormancy that they go into because literally it's too cold to be a reptile. I don't see any water monitor lizards, but that's where they normally are. And this state of dormancy really is about just being extremely sluggish, inactive, and it's torpor. Oh, there you go. Oh my goodness. I just found a monitor lizard for you, Ray. I'm on fire. It's a water monitor. There you go. See, they're still active. They're not hiding. And this part of Gowrie Dam, really, if you don't find a monitor lizard here, then it's not going to be a good day. So reptiles go into this temporary state of dormancy because of temperatures and because of their biology, because they are ectothermic. They can't really withstand extended periods of really low temperatures. But it's not true hibernation. It's basically hibernation in a cold-blooded form, cold-blooded version, and it's called brumation, and that's normally what you see about snakes. But the most amazing thing about that is they burrow underground during brumation. You just find a burrow, go underground. It's probably a lot warmer there, and the temperature's a lot constant there. They're sheltered from the wind. As you get down, as you bury deep down into the ground, you'll find that there is warmth. It's not cold down there. It's a misconception. And they can pull themselves out of this state of torpor to go and get water. So you will find snakes. There's obviously an innate biological cue that tells them you need water, you're becoming dehydrated. They pull themselves out of it and they just sort of slither away to the nearest water point, drink, hydrate, and then go back to their bury and go back into that state of brumation. We don't really see too many snakes here, which is rather unfortunate. We do see them, but I wish we saw more. Hello, little guy. Wasn't that lucky? Request a monitor lizard and I found it. So we're just going to sit and enjoy looking at him a little bit longer. We found our water monitor lizard. Just assessing the dam now, assessing his landscape, trying to warm up. Oh, there's another one. Incoming, incoming. Just pulling itself out of the water. Wow. Let's just sit here for a moment and watch this fascinating sighting of two monitor lizards. Isn't it fascinating watching these old prehistoric looking reptiles go about their day?
Well, not much has changed. We're still just being, well, Sabi and having a little feed. There's not much changes on this side of the world. Hyenas haven't really come out for us to see them nicely either, so it's all pretty quiet for now. But we'll see what she does. I'm sure she's going to get to the point where she's eaten enough, and then she's going to go and sit somewhere else. She might even come down the tree and go and lie down somewhere. Sometimes they do that, especially adult leopards. They're not as worried about hyenas as what the young ones are. There's definitely 4 of them down below. I can see the hyenas kind of through the bush there. Not enough to get IDs on them, but maybe some of you clever people out there that know hyenas better than I do will be able to ID from a much closer view than what I've got. Not really that easy to see through all the bushes, and also I don't have a monitor, so you guys are going to see a lot better than I will. It's one happy leopard though. Kill up the tree, feeding. That's good. So, initially I thought the kill was quite old, but the more I look at it and the more she eats, it's in such a difficult spot to actually see it nicely. But I'm starting to see bits of internal organs. I mean, there's a stomach hanging down, which I know for those of you who are a little bit sensitive to macabre things, I'm sorry about that. There's not much I can do. It's caught on a branch there, and so it's just hanging. But there, if you look in front of her paw, looks like a piece of liver or piece of lung that's there, so it must be fresher than I first thought. Maybe just a young individual that's been caught. But she'll definitely be here this afternoon. There's more than enough food for her to still stay till the afternoon. Amber, how does instinct form part of an animal's DNA? I mean, this is a very interesting question, because I actually don't know how it would form part of the DNA. It's, there's a few things out here that we don't have the exact answers for. Instinct being one of them. It's something that we see animals behave, and we try and often associate very human-like qualities to animals and human-like understanding of things to animals, and that's not always the correct way to do things. Sometimes animals just do because they do. But how that comes about and how it's kind of in the DNA, I honestly don't know. Maybe Lauren will have a better idea. I'm not sure. But yeah, instinct is something that I think is just hardwired into them over years and years and years and years and years of doing things and getting results. But how that translates into the DNA, I'm not exactly sure. It'd be interesting to go and have a little bit of a research about that. Because I think there's still things out here that we as humans like to think we know a lot about, but still have some work to do, and I think there's also things we'll never truly understand. Shreya, I can't see, to be honest with you. We've been too far away, and when we were close to her, she was sitting on her stomach like she is now. So I can't see if there's any suckle marks or anything like that. I noticed it the last time we saw her when we followed her along and she went and lay on that termite mound on Chitwa. I didn't really see anything, and I didn't want to say anything at the time because I was like, I don't want to be a pessimistic Pam and say something along those lines. But, it would kind of didn't look like she still had cubs in her behavior and those kinds of things. Didn't really suggest much in the way of cub mother that has them. She wasn't on a mission to hunt. She wasn't kind of going back to her den. She was just literally sitting and scent marking, and that's about it. So I don't know. I mean, maybe she still had the cub back then, but the cub was also getting to the age where suckling was going to be she was going to be weaned off suckling. I don't know if it was a he or a she, that little cub, but that the suckling was going to start coming to an end. And once that happens, then you obviously don't see the suckle marks anymore. But if that's the case and she wasn't suckling, then the cub would be here. She wouldn't be eating like this and not gone and fetched it. She would have gone long ago to go and fetch it, bring it back and try and get the cub, or give the cub a chance to get onto meat and feed. And we're at the right time frame now where the cub should be eating meat. So I don't know. It's just something about it just doesn't feel right. I was talking to the guys on that side when we went in there, and they were just saying that they're hardly seeing her. They don't have any idea where she's hanging out, what she's been doing. I said to them, well, we have the same problem on our side with Kalamba. So just a ghost at the moment. So I don't know what it is, if it's this presence of lions that's keeping all of our leopards from being a lot more showy than they used to be, or if it's the presence of hyenas, or if it's just cubs at the moment. I really don't know why two relaxed females have become so difficult to find over the last little bit. Alright, well, we'll sit here for a while longer and then maybe start bumbling kind of back towards camp at some point. But in the meantime, you can take a look at eco training and the Pridelands promotion that we're doing.
Operating for 27 years, Eco Training is the pioneer and leader in safari guide and wildlife training in Africa. WildEarth has been working closely with Eco Training to promote the safari guide industry and create awareness for its importance. This is why, for 1 month only, we are offering all WildEarth viewers an opportunity to receive a discount on an Eco Training safari guide course. Contact Eco Training today to find out more, and remember to quote Eco Wild Live to receive your discount.
Right, so not much has changed. We're still eating. Hyenas are still lurking. There's a hyena on the right-hand side there. I don't know if you can see it. Just looking ever hopefully up at the tree and hoping there's going to be a meal coming towards it. I love how hyenas look like this. They're just kind of looking longingly, like, please give me something. It's not like they ever are thin and have not robbed a leopard multiple times before, but they still have this face of like, I'm being hard done by the fact that you put it up the tree and you don't share. It always makes me laugh. They kind of sit there with this face of, I'm being hard done by. Nice to see a congregation of hyenas again. It's amazing how we miss them when the den's not around. I know Lauren does, at least. I mean, I spent very little time at the den in comparison to Lauren and Trish and Jamie back in the day. And that's probably because the three of them were generally at the den, so there wasn't really much room for us to head in those directions. And honestly, it allowed us to go and do all kinds of things, with try and track leopards and stuff. So for me, it was perfect. I didn't really mind too much. And I think it's nice that, you know, each of us develop our own interests out here, which we can take you along for the ride with. I think it's an element of interest when you start to kind of, not specialize, but when you start to take a particular interest in certain things. I think it's nice that each person has that, you know, and as much as we all enjoy everything out here, it's nice when you with somebody that has a particular passion for a certain animal, in my opinion. Alrighty, so we're still eating, still doing her thing. What we might do is carry on now and go and see what else we can find. Slowly kind of head up back into Djuma. In the meantime, though, let's send you across to the dam cam.
We have been having some lovely views of the lapwing chicks. Sadly, there's not much to look at right now. They're just behind this vegetation. And I believe there are two. I think people are maybe hoping that there's a third one going to pop up. But sadly, the view is obscured now, right on the edge. I'll just zoom out so you get some context. Right on the edge of the dam, and I'll zoom right back in again. Bless me, apologies. Oh, there we go. I've got something. I don't really know how to get it in focus, but you can see the tiny little fluff ball. That is a blacksmith lapwing chick. And they are monogamous, so the sort of two that you see around the dam most likely are the male and female pair, but they're very alike. It's very difficult to tell the difference between male and female. They're so small, my goodness. And I mean, they can actually lay all year round, believe it or not. But the peak time is anywhere between July to August for egg laying, and they can lay anywhere up to 4 eggs. A nest, as you gathered, is normally built close to water. I mean, it's not in focus, that little one, but it's very sweet. Look at the size difference. How sweet. And it's actually both sexes that can scrape out a hollow, believe it or not. And they use their breastbone. It's quite an unusual technique how they actually dig out a hollow for the nest, but they can reuse that hollow time and time again. And it's both male and female that contribute. So again, high level of maternal-paternal care, which is very common in monogamous birds, or those that say they're monogamous. Wink, wink. I don't disappear, I was joining these views. There we go. And this is, oh no, sorry, I hit the wrong button, apologies. Oh, forgive me. This is why I'm better on the vehicle, everybody. It's also nice just to look along the water's edge as well. Okay, I'm going to make sure I don't hit any of the wrong buttons again and try and go back and look for these little lapwings.
Operating for 27 years, Eco Training is the pioneer and leader in safari guide and wildlife training in Africa. WildEarth has been working closely with Eco Training to promote the safari guide industry and create awareness for its importance. This is why, for 1 month only, we are offering all WildEarth viewers an opportunity to receive a discount on an Eco Training safari guide course. Contact Eco Training today to find out more, and remember to quote Eco Wild Live to receive your discount.
The scrap here collected a dry grass, put it next to the water hole as the hippo walks down during the warm of the day to drink the water. When the hippo arrives, he saw quite a very nice grass, an area not to resist to rest. And when the hippo went down to drink the water, and when finished the water, he just lied down on the grass. And then, that was the opportunity of the scrappy. You know what? Today is my day to pay the revenge.
Okay, there's another big male coming in from our left here. Another big male, look at this. This is the one. Now you're going to see sparks fly, guys. Guys, it doesn't get better than this, eh? Yes, unbelievable. Africa, I love you, eh?
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
I got into wildlife filmmaking because of a passion for nature and a notion that I could make a difference. Helping others fall in love with nature brings meaning to what I do. It's also a lot of fun. A couple of times per week, we receive some very heartfelt messages from viewers telling us about how WildEarth has made a difference in their life, whether it's helped them through a difficult period or simply helped them to reconnect with nature. I think that's why we do what we do.
We're still just sitting, watching the water's edge. Watching and waiting, the way of the bush. Okay, my radio is dead, I'm afraid, which means I have no comms, so you are going to have to bear with me till I go and find another radio.
What's up? Well, we just left Sabi now. Just thought we'd pop in at Twin Dams just to see if anything's happening. I know you guys are getting a lot of dam cam stuff, so dams are maybe not what you want to see, but we just thought we'd come and have a little look and see if anything is moving about. There's the obligatory Egyptian geese, which are always at every waterhole ever. It's very shocking when there isn't one at a waterhole, but nice to kind of just see the dam. It feels like it's fuller. Not by much, but it does feel like there's a little bit more water in it, which is always a good thing. This dam is one of the worst ones in terms of filling because it actually doesn't have a catchment or a drainage into it. It's purely rainwater that's running off the slope, off the crest and into this area. Remember that Buffelshoek Dam, Treehouse, Gowrie, they all have drainage lines that feed into them. So they have a huge volume of water that's pushed into them because it's funneled and it goes there. This is all relying on just basically seep that is coming through. So it generally is the slowest to fill up and the one that drops the quickest too, because it just doesn't have that same sustaining water flow under the surface of the soil too, like Buffelshoek Dam and Gowrie Dam and Treehouse. But it looks good. I mean, it's crazy for me to think how full all these dams are compared to what they were, a few years ago. This time of the year, in 2016, 17, 18, even 19 too. They were all pretty dry by this time of the year. There was not much in the way of water in them. But the last kind of 2 years we've done well, and they've sustained their water all the way through. It's crazy to think that we actually had them at the point where they were dry. When you see this body of water now, you think that could never happen. There's two little water thickneys down below as well. They look a bit bedraggled, don't they? They look like they've had a cold morning and a slow start to the day. It's probably not to blame because they're quite active at night, these guys. All over the place at night. So a little lie-in with them. The missus is not the worst thing. It's having a taking it easy moment. Nice peaceful morning though. I'm sure these birds are completely oblivious to the fact that there's something that will eat them just over the dam wall and to the south. Pretty sure they think that everything is hunky-dory. Luckily they can fly, so they don't have to worry too much. Okay, well, there's good birding conditions because it's not windy today, and it's actually fair. It's not cold, but it's not hot either. But there's enough warmth that the birds can move around, and birds of prey can even fly about a little bit. So yeah, nice. And with the rain that we've just had, we're going to start to see all the summer species arriving. So things like, woodland kingfisher, cuckoos, European beater, redback shrikes, carmine beaters, they're all going to start filtering in now. Although the carmines and the redback shrikes generally much later, they're more December. A lot of people often ask about the redbacks. They're late arrivals in the migratory season. So first we'll get cuckoos, kingfishers, then we'll start to see the shrikes and the carmines towards December, and the European rollers too. All right, I think let's leave those guys and let's carry on slowly bumbling northwards. See what happens. It's amazing how difficult it is to see a leopard in these trees. I'm just looking where Sabi is now. I can't even see her from here. Now that tree has got a bit of leaves on it where she's sitting, it's near impossible. It's fine from the road, but it just shows you like a 30 meter. So all the difference it takes to become invisible. Yeah, hopefully Wendy will be up and running again this afternoon and Lauren can go and have a look at Sabi. She might get better signal and don't even have to worry to come in if you want to come to have a look at her, which is very, very kind of them. We tried to cultivate very good relationships with all of our neighbours as guides here. And it sometimes leads to us feeling, people being very kind to us like that and allowing us to come in. So I'm hoping if Wendy's out, because Wendy typically has a bit better signal than what Rusty does. It's a different antenna. So if Wendy's out, then maybe Lauren will get much better signal than I did, and she'll be able to get a little closer and get some nice views of Sabi this afternoon. All right, onward we go. Let's see what else is lurking this morning and what else is in store.
I'm very jealous of Tristan, not just with Sabi, but also hyena action. I don't know which hyena it was, but still. Now we're just searching sort of along the water edge. Naturally, that's where you'll see your really, really small birds. We just had a swallow, and naturally the chicks are there as well. It's so lovely. Any bird life, really, I've just completely fallen in love with, and I think it really was Sebwig and Mr. and Mrs. Wig that paved the way for my journey into birds. I was very much present on long stints then, and just watching the chick grow up was really quite something incredible. Okay. I'm just going to zoom out now and see what else may be wandering around the dam. I'm just admiring the views of the dam. We've been looking along the water's edge, but naturally should always just do a quick check to make sure nothing's walking behind you or around you. So I'm going to do it quickly. These are very, very prominent roads and game paths that animals use. Very prominent. Okay, nothing so far. But let's do a nice slow pan now that my camera skills are 10 out of 10. And just see if we can see any wonderfulness and listen to all the sounds around the dam. Isn't it so lovely to see, the fluttering bys of the birds and insects around the dam? Just scanning slowly around, see if we can see anything else for the last little bit of the drive. Those chicks were so adorable. See, it's not quite time for the migrants yet. The change of season has not, it's only just started to fluctuate, if you like. There's an Ngala in the background. And there's no migrants, as far as I'm aware, that have arrived yet. I have only been back 5 days. But I haven't seen the return of any migrants yet. I'm afraid I think it's just a little tad too early. But it's going to start soon, you're right. We need to keep our eyes open and, well, mostly our ears open, actually. That's how you sort of identify if a bird is arriving by the calls. You can hear the calls and you know, this bird is here. We have an Impala lamb competition, and then naturally we have a woodland kingfisher competition. James Richard helped me out here. Who won that competition last year? I'm pretty sure it wasn't me. I have a funny feeling it might have been Trishala. Beautiful Trishala. But yes, I haven't seen any just yet, but times are changing. Change is upon us. And I'm not entirely the biggest fan of the transition in the season when the downpours. But once summer really, really kicks in, oh, I love it. I spend hours and hours and hours looking at the insects and all the different things that are growing and crawling, and fantastic. If you are new to WildEarth, stick with us. Summer will shock you how different the landscape will look. But of course, many of you are not new. You're the oldies, the golden oldies, just like me. The Ngala use our camp, DRC, as a retirement village. That's probably why the leopards come through. Tristan walked into Shasha yesterday. The male Nyalas all just come here and they are unbelievably relaxed and habituated. You can walk right past them within touching distance, and naturally you wouldn't touch. That's not right or okay, but I'm just trying to describe the close proximity to you. James Richard, you're saying the Wahlberg eagles are back. Are they back? My goodness, I also did not know that. I also haven't seen them. Which ones did you see, James? More info, please. There are two pairs that I know quite well. There's the pair, they're the opposites as well. One is the pale morph, the other is a dark morph. And in one pair, the male and females are one color, and then in the other pair, they're the opposite, if that makes sense. I actually don't think that did make sense, but you all know what I'm trying to say. And there's a pair that nest on Wahlberg's Nest Road, right high up in that nest. They were not successful last year. And there is a pair that nest in the Mulwati, and they were successful last year. So James Richard, more info, please. That is very exciting news. So as I search Gowrie Dam, we are heading you back to Tristan.
Well, Lauren, I hope that something does come down. I know it can be tricky on that camera when nothing comes out. Sometimes you feel like you're repeating yourself a little bit on there. So I do hope something comes your way. Just a few things about WildEarth that you've learned a lot of stuff very quickly. One is the dam camp, and the other one was the tent. You've learned very quickly how to talk about pretty much nothing regularly at that point. All right, so I'm just coming up on Wahlberg's nest. I'm just checking very slowly, very carefully, just in case there is any signs of Kalamba. We still haven't seen much sign of her, so just checking. I'm sure she's just been sitting with the kill and fat and healthy and full. Which is what normally happens with Kalamba. She's an incredibly successful hunter. She just likes to hunt in places and drag her kills into places where we can't see. But hopefully, at some point, our little bad run of Kalamba luck breaks. We get a sighting of her. It'd be nice if we do. It'll definitely be a welcome surprise. Impala tracks to speak of in this area at the moment. There's nothing else that I can really pick up. I didn't see really many tracks all the way on Twin Dams Road. Sounds like the Talamatis and old silver eye, blue eye, purple eye, whatever you want to call her from the Talamatis has joined those five. So they're together inside Buffelshoek. which is nice to hear. Hopefully she'll stay with them now that she's recovered a little bit and is not as downtrodden as she was. We'll see her kind of stick with the pride for longer periods. Well, that's what I'm hoping anyway. So a little male wildebeest here, all its own. Or in the words of Taylor, a wildebeest. I always laugh at that because, you know, like, even I say it wrong. Wildebeest is how you should be saying, which is an Afrikaans word. So you can't say a wee sound like we would in English. Otherwise it's completely wrong. And I always laugh at it because I'm like, you can't say wildebeest because if we did that, then we used to have a cameraman here called Wiem, and you'd have to call him Wiem. So you always laugh when guys call them wildebeest. It's either gnu if you want to use English, or wildebeest if you want to use Afrikaans. And that's my lesson for the day. Am I right, Gert?
Yep.
There we go. Male wildebeest on his own. Don't know where his harem of girls is. I'm sure they're around here somewhere. I saw them yesterday, not far from here. So I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure that's a cuckoo calling. Can you see it? That's the first cuckoo I've heard. Let's just go forward a little bit and see if we can find it. You know what I didn't hear last year that I'm hoping we'll hear more of this year is black cuckoos. I'm so sad call. Can you see it? Isn't that a starling that's on top there? It's a starling, yeah. Cuckoos are sometimes very tricky to see in these trees because they don't sit like on top or on their fringes. They like to be sometimes quite hidden, particularly things like red-chested cuckoo, which we haven't heard yet. I mean, they will be pretty prominent in the summer months. But it wasn't a hoopoe that was calling, it was definitely a cuckoo. It'll be the first one of the summer. I'm trying to scan these two trees to try to see if I can spot it. But I don't see anything. Nope, can't see anything. I didn't see anything fly out, did you? Maybe it's just gone quiet because I approached. I'll go a little bit further forward and see. Sorry, wildebeest. The thunder has been stolen by a bird, I'm afraid. Okay, starling, I hear you. Maybe it flew out the back of this tree and I didn't see it. Oh well, we'll keep looking around and see if we can find it in this marula. Let's see if we get a visual.
The WildEarth channel now runs for 24 hours a day and is filled with exciting wildlife experiences for the whole family. In addition to our twice daily live safaris from Africa, we launched Sea Forest. Free divers explore the great African kelp forest under the water in Cape Town, while naturalists on the surface explain what we are seeing in real time. Our Escape to Nature series features exceptional wildlife footage throughout the day, and here you can immerse yourself in the sights and sounds of nature. And finally, we are launching a brand new penguin experience later this month, where you can follow the lives of a group of African penguins daily and in real time. If you want to join in on these experiences, then head over to wildearth.tv/channel to see where you can watch. Escape to nature with WildEarth.
It's day 1 of the annual South African Guide of the Year competition, and our first foot into this competition this morning is all about tracks and signs.
We're going to call you in one at a time. Just look at it, the information will be there.
Our 5 guides have been tasked by the judges at figuring out who is what is who, and where they go in the bush.
It's either Franklin or guinea fowl, but because of the volume of other deposits in the area, we went with guinea fowl.
Detailing the surrounding that you need to look out for tracks. The details is very important.
I've seen something I've never seen here before. Look at these cubs. One is crossing the river, it's being washed away unfortunately, but I'm sure the mother is going to save her. Look at that! How beautiful, look at that! One crossing, 2 to go. How cool is this?
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Well, we managed to find our cuckoo, which is wonderful news. It's perched up in the tree at the moment. It's making its little cuckoo sound. Did I say common cuckoo? I meant African cuckoo. If I said common cuckoo, I do apologize. Common cuckoos generally don't call in this area, so I don't know why I said that. And also you can see the beak, and lots of orange at the base of that beak. That's awesome. Very cool to see cuckoos back again. And you'll see, once you see one like this, then they're just everywhere. It's like they all get the memo at the same time to come through. But that sound, as soon as I heard it, I was like, I know that call. It's something we haven't heard in a long time. Amazing how they can almost be ventriloquist-like. It's tricky to find them sometimes. It's been very, very cool that one of the first smaller migratory birds that we've spotted today. I was hoping I'd see some of the cuckoos. It would be nice if we hear the Diedrich or the classes over the next few days. I love the call of the classes as well. They're beautiful, beautiful birds. This is one of the drab cuckoos. You get the drab cuckoos and you get the colourful cuckoos. The drab ones, the African common, lesser, Madagascar, they all look very similar to this, grey, barred, not huge amounts of colour. And then you get emerald, classes, Diedrich. They are all the iridescent greens and whites and just beautiful birds. That lot. Anyway, very cool. Well done, Gert. Marvelous. Danny Lulu, you say that the cuckoo was one of your favourite sightings this morning. Well, that's good. It's nice when people get excited about birds as much as what we do. It's always just nice because it's a change of season. I love summer from that point of view. There's just so many birds and so much colour out here that when you hear that and you see that, it's a reminder of what's to come after a pretty dry winter. And it's always good to know temperatures are going to warm up, things are going to get more beautiful. So I'm glad that you appreciated that. Like I say, for us as guides, we get very excited about little things like that. As they start arriving back, it makes us very, very happy. It's still calling. You can hear it at the moment. But you can see how they like to sit. They like to sit in the tree, not right exposed on the edges. They like to get themselves where they can hide a little bit, and then they call from there. These guys are not as bad as the emerald class and classes, but emerald particularly can be an absolute nightmare to spot those things in this kind of vegetation. They get up in that green, and especially if they've got their backs to you, you can't see them at all. generally just see them as they fly, and then from there you've got to try and scan around with binos and you pick them up. But it's so amazing. Like here, emerald cuckoos are sort of rare and very difficult to find, and it's a special bird in the Sabi sands. And then you go to a place like the Congo rainforest and it's like you can't get away from them. They literally are everywhere around you and you see them all day, every day. It's weird how that kind of works with birds. Some places they're rare, some places they're very common. Anyway, hopefully we will see those birds. I know a couple of you love the classes cuckoo, so hopefully that will make an appearance this summer. Tough bird to get on camera though. Good. Well, we're going to head home. I mean, we're almost home anyway, but we are going to head home now. I hope all of you enjoyed the morning out with us. I know we're kind of down a few feeds this morning, but hopefully Sabi and Damcam and cuckoos and elephants in the mist was enough to whet your appetite and to make sure that you enjoyed your morning with us. So yeah, like I say, we're going to head back. We're going to breakfast, refuel, and then we start again this afternoon, and we hope that you will join us this afternoon. I'm sure there's lots to go and follow up on. Sounds like a few things that were seen this morning. Besides the weed, it sounds like the dark mane is around too, so I'm sure between Lauren and I we'll be able to find some cool things. But from all of us at FC and on the vehicles and in Damcam, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we look forward to seeing you this afternoon on our sunset safari.